So earlier today, I hit a sub 213 on Drybones Burnout, and for those of you who don't time trial Drybones Burnout yet, for context, this is the current world record. I'm 3 seconds off of the world record, but the difference between this time and this time, for example, is this time does a huge, crazy ultra shortcut, which I obviously didn't do. This is not going to be applicable or practical to do online, and this is the last world record where they did the regular, just drive the ending of, you know, the last intended path on Drybones Burnout, the safest path. So how about, let's just call it an even 2 seconds off of this time here. So I think I have enough experience to help you guys improve on this track also, because this is an awesome track to learn. It is so much fun, and I will be going over Shroomless lines for you guys and a little bit of the intricacies of this map, because there are some things that are pretty difficult to land, and even I am still getting, you know, inconsistently on this track. So without further ado, let me just hop into my ghost and explain to you guys exactly what I did here. All right, so if you've seen any footage of people time trial, or if like JPG or if any of those guys playing Drybones Burnout online or anything like that, you know that it starts off with a charge jump into a wall ride, and it looks very precise, it looks very flashy, but it's actually not that difficult. Let me show you guys the timing that you guys should look for. So obviously after your start boost, you want to go just right here. The world record starts its charge jump like probably like right here, honestly, but you don't need to do that. The timing for me that felt the easiest when I was just learning it was just about right here. Just starting the charge jump here and then going around the corner. But the later you start it, the closer you start it to the apex of this corner right here without going into the lava, the better 100%. And as you go around this, you want to kind of steer the cart a little bit to the left, and you know, sometimes you might mess up. Make sure that you don't get a drift by accident, because I do that by accident. I accidentally start a left drift going around that, and then I have to restart. So yeah, make sure you don't get that left drift, and then as soon as you go up here, you want to let go of the charge jump. I think it might be fine just doing it where I did, to be honest. So you just want to go somewhere around here, just before, obviously don't touch the lava, and as soon as you let go of the charge jump, you want to be holding right, because if you don't hold any direction, or if you input the direction at the last minute, you might just jump straight up into the air and you'll fall just straight into the lava. So hold right as you go up to this wall, and then you get on the wall, you right it, and you want to wait until you get an orange, and as soon as you get an orange, let go of that, and you just jump off the wall like normal. You don't have to input any direction, but just before you land, and you kind of want to do this almost like immediately. You want to do a right trick, and the higher handing combos is going to have an easier time with this. And all you do is you right trick just to make sure you don't go into the lava there on the left, and then you land in a boost and you keep going. And this is one of 2 sections that I find somewhat inconsistent, as sometimes I will get this part and it will launch me a lot further than, you know, other times where it launches me a lot less. And I still, you know, even with the time that I've put into this, I've put a couple days into this track, I still haven't been able to find like a setup or, you know, a timing that has made this part more consistent. So you kind of just have to, you know, try your best to make it as consistent as possible, and sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. You know, maybe someone else out there in the comments you know, can help us out and see if there's a timing to make this more consistent. But this is just definitely something you guys should note in your runs, that you may run into this section sending you further or sending you less, but it doesn't really matter all that much until you start to really push it around, you know, low 14s and under 14 seconds 100%. So the rest of this is pretty simple until you get right here. This is also not the craziest, but you want to get those 3 coins that you see up there on that track, right? So you want to get the 3 coins, and you start a right drift, and you want to start it as close to the orange and yellow lines on the middle or on the inner part of that track. You want to start it as close as you can, start a right drift, and immediately hold all the way left to make sure that you see how, like, I start and then I'm holding all the way left. Daisy is pointed completely to the left, and you want to make sure you get these coins with the back end of the cart. You see how I'm like barely getting the coin there? You want to grab it with the back end of your cart. This one I kind of went a little bit wide, I kind of got in the middle, but you want to take this line as tight as you can, and you do that by just aiming the back end of your cart for those coins. And as soon as you get this coin, you want to turn in sharp as you can. You see how I get the next charge right there, that's just me turning the cart in super sharp, and then you want to readjust to make sure you don't fall off. Yeah, you want to take this as tight as you can, and as soon as you get here, as soon as you get this ultra mini turbo here, you want to release it pretty much, and you want to like slingshot yourself. You want to wrap yourself around this corner, because dude, this whole corner right here is very awkward. It's not like a straight like a normal just curve. It's very like straight in some sections, curved in others, and this ending is definitely very curved here, and you want to wrap around this, and you want to shoot for this ending coin right here. This section down here is very strange, because I've noticed if you go for the coins on the right, for some reason, I don't know if it's just with Daisy, I haven't tried this with Wario, but dude, it's like significantly slower to drive on the right side of the track. I have no clue why. So stay near the middle, and I found that this is the most consistent way to do this anyways. Go down the middle, go for these coins here. So you grab this coin. I do a left trick just to make sure it's a little bit consistent. I normally do an up trick here. I don't know why I did a right trick. I just happened to do it in my run. So I do an up trick normally, so just up trick down onto this. But here, you definitely want to right trick here. You right trick off of this jump here, and then you want to land in a right drift. So like as soon as you land, press the drift button, and the one thing that you do need to be careful with is that you don't want to do too many right tricks, and you don't want to go too much to the right, because you can be tempted to do that, and you will fall and you will hit the section of the inner part of the track, and you will actually fall off into the lower, and you do not want to fall down there. It's slow. You will not be able to get onto the top section, and it's gonna ruin your whole run. So yeah, you want to wrap around this, take this as tight as you can, try to be on those bones. I could have taken this slightly tighter, but this did just fine for the time that I was going for. And here, as you go off the glider, if you don't already know, it's faster to tilt your cart down as you go off. So watch the angle that my cart comes out at. Daisy tilts down. This motion right here actually propels you slightly forward and saves a couple hundredths of a second. This is such an easy way to save time. So just make sure that you tilt down, and then you just drive the rest of the track like normal. And here's another very flashy section of the track that may look very difficult. And for most of my time trials, when I was like in the mid 13 seconds, dude, I was going for the normally just jumping onto that trick down there, onto that rail down there. But dude, I've found that it's actually way more consistent to go onto and do this little maneuver right here. So what I'm doing here seems very difficult, right? It seems very difficult. It seems like super precise, but it's actually not that bad once you get the lineup. So you don't want to be too parallel to the wall. If you're too parallel to the wall, you're just gonna bump into it, and you're not gonna get on the wall. And even if you get onto the wall, you're not gonna get enough height to land onto that rail over there. So you kind of want to go off of it. You know, I think this is a perfect lineup right here. Go off of like the corner of this arrow right here and just trick onto it. Go, like, you see how I'm like pretty much going vertical into the wall? This is the easiest way, the most consistent way to get onto this wall right here, most definitely. And as soon as you go off, you don't trick, you hold it. You see how I'm holding the trick? I don't trick. And then as soon as I'm about to land onto the or as I'm getting closer to the rail, then you trick down onto it, you up trick onto it, and you'll immediately just land onto it. It's not the hardest thing to do. You know, the only thing is if you don't get enough air off of here. If you have enough air on here, dude, you can even make it onto that rail without tricking. But it is faster to trick, because the main reason why we do this, it's not that much faster than just going onto the rail normally. But what is faster is when you go off of here and you trick and you land, you get a much bigger speed boost, and you get a lot more momentum than going on that rail normally. And there was a ghost, if you guys saw my last video, there is a ghost that was able to get a ton of momentum off of that rail on his first lap, and I have no clue how he did that, but he doesn't get it on the other laps. So it's not a consistent way. I have no clue how to do it, but I say that dude, landing on that rail is actually very precise. I think I struggled, like I was able to get it consistently, but I think I struggled a lot more getting onto that rail without doing the wall ride. So you should definitely learn it. The beginning section, getting onto the rail, getting onto the wall, it's not that difficult. Getting onto this part of the wall, it's not that difficult. You just need to have the right alignment and throw yourself against the wall, and you got it. And then again, you want to land in a right drift, and you take this corner as tight as you can, hop, and you want to go as close to that wall as you can, hold the drift, and you want to release your drift as soon as you get the trick. Like as soon as you're ready to get the trick, release your mini turbo, get a trick, and sometimes, like depending on the alignment that you have, it kind of just depends. You can either neutral trick, or you can left trick off of this and land in a drift as well, and you want to wrap around this corner. You can take this corner very, very tight. You can go very, very tight around this corner. And here is where it gets a little bit difficult. This part is only difficult because of the angle that you go off of this ramp. You could go a little bit too high, or you could go a little bit too low. And if you go a little bit too high, you're going to get a ton of air. It's a little bit slow, but if you're not, again, if you're not in like the 14-second range, as long as you land on that wall and you don't go too low is like below that line. You kind of want to aim for the line between the darker portion of the wall and the lighter portion of the wall. You want to land like just above, just above. The world record does go slightly lower and lands just below that line, but I found that that's very inconsistent, and it ends up leaving me, you know, falling into that lava pit below, and you know, or just missing the wall completely. So land just above, and you'll get perfect enough air to go just fast enough to not get too much air, but also be able to land on this. It's very important that you land on this portion. If you're not like sub 14, if you're trying to push sub 14, you should definitely try to land on this. But if you go over it, it's not the worst thing. If you're like above 13, you're trying to get like a sub 15 or anything like that, it's not the worst, but you definitely want to land. The fastest way is to land on here. And this is where the shroom lines, I'll show you guys after, but this is where the shroom lines differ a little bit from the Shroomless lines. For Shroomless, is everything up to this point has been exactly the exact same. You want to do it the exact same, except for right here. You see how I down trick to get on this? If you're doing Shroomless, what you want to do is you want to right trick. You want to right trick, and then you exactly want to go off of it and delay trick again. Shrooms or Shroomless, you want to do the same exact thing, except Shroomless, you want to drift around that corner and take that as tight as possible. I'll show you guys that later. But as you go down, you down trick before you land, and to know, a good way to know if you get good alignment or not is if as soon as you land, you hit a trick and you get it. You want to trick immediately as you land. And if you don't trick, if you don't get the trick, it's not like the biggest deal. You'll still be able to make it. But this is definitely the 100% the fastest way to drive this section of the track. So you up trick into the lava, and as soon as you come down, you press your shroom. And here you can get a trick off of this section here. You can 100% get a trick off of this. But I found that probably like 1 in 50 runs. And I'm sorry for the screen splitting, by the way. I have a very cheap capture card. Hopefully, you know, if I get more subs, more followers, more views, I'll be able to upgrade to a more expensive one, and I'll avoid that. But hopefully it's not bothering you guys too much. But right here, you want to jump as late as possible. Sometimes you'll get a trick, like very rarely I get a trick, but I pretty much do the exact same timing. And I've noticed if you jump later, you can actually clear this entire section with your full speed boost. You see how Daisy kind of gets like a little bit of a like the front tires lift up slightly. It's not the biggest deal. I still cleared it with most of my speed, but if you jump a little bit earlier and you try to like clear that entire lava section, you will land like right here and you will lose most of your speed. Like at least most of, like, you know, the mushroom speed. So you want to preserve that as long as possible. And I think on laps 2 and 3 I do that a little bit better, so I'll be able to show you guys. And here is the final thing, and this could absolutely kill like a good PR. You want to make sure you go slightly higher up. You can go like, you can like smack into the candle and get a trick there, but if you do, you risk missing the timing, because the timing is a lot harder to get if you're lower on the ramp, and it really doesn't save that much. Like on Toad's Factory, it's important to trick as low as possible, but on here I've seen even, you know, times much faster than I do, go higher up and pretty much go on the top as if you're driving it normally and trick off of it. So, you know, as long as you get the trick here, that's all that matters. And then everything else, pretty much the exact same thing, you know, trick, boom, the exact same thing. You keep going, except right here you want to start the drift a little bit a little bit closer to those lines, and then you just hold it. You stick to it as close as you can. And here, obviously, you can't. It doesn't show us in the but you know, obviously, you'll have the other coins, and then you want to go down the middle, and then get the 2 coins on the end. Oh, and by the way, the only thing that I forgot to mention on the first lap is getting the coins on the middle. Lap 1 is not only it's more consistent, but you'll miss out on 1 coin. So you'll be missing out on 1 coin, but it's not the biggest deal. So instead of having 11 coins for lap 3, you'll have 10. So 1 coin difference, that's not really the biggest deal. But yeah, that's the way that I recommend it. I mean, you can still try going for the right coins, but I just found that for me, this is the most consistent way. I don't know if it's different for Wario, but definitely for Daisy, that's exactly, this is how I found to be the most consistent. And you get the right, and then you get the last coin on the left, go off, land in a drift, the same exact way, same thing, hold up, land, trick, same exact thing, yeah, same thing. And let's see if I get more air here. Yeah, it seems like I got slightly more air. The other thing that I forgot to mention lap 1 is this trick here. There's a fast version and a slow version of it. I don't know why. Just sometimes when I land, I will not get the momentum. You see here, I get a ton of momentum. It throws me so far forward. I think on lap 1, I didn't get a lot of momentum, and I kind of just like stall in midair for whatever reason. It's probably just the angle that I land on or whatever. But yeah, sometimes for the most part you will, I think for the most part you will get that momentum trick, and it might just be if like you're closer to the lava. I'm really not exactly sure. You know, maybe you guys can experiment and figure out a more consistent way to get that momentum trick off into the lava. But yeah, that is something that you should definitely watch out for sure. And then yeah, I jump late, and there's lap 2. And the only difference on lap 3 is literally the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing, except you just get the coin on the right. I started the drift a little bit wide there, but it's all right. It doesn't lose that much time. Yeah, I just get that 1 coin left, and you see I have 10 coins now, and then I just finish the lap like normal. Oh, and by the way, on the glider, I've noticed on the glider, on laps 1 and 2 on my PR, I go kind of wide, and it probably loses me a little bit of time. It's not the most noticeable thing, but the one thing that I see the world record do, and it seems like it's more consistent, is when you go off the glider, you want a left trick. If you left trick, your cart will barrel roll to the left, and you can still hold down as you go off. And I found that, you know, you will be on a much tighter and a more consistent line, because if you're taking this corner here at the end very, very tight, you know, you're gonna end up being on the right portion of the glider, going off the right portion of the glider a lot of the time. So you definitely want to I think you definitely want to left trick there 100%. I don't know why I didn't do it. I just forget to. And but that is something that you should definitely keep in mind, and you should definitely be doing in your runs. Yeah, same exact thing. And here I actually get a little bit more. I jump very late, and I actually land. Yeah, so this is exactly what you want to be aiming for on this last portion of the track. You want to jump over this entire, you see how I land on the other side of this ash here? Yeah, you want to land there, and this is the way that you'll be able to maintain that mushroom speed boost as much as you can. Yeah, because look, the fire's still going up until there. So yeah, if you can do that, that is the perfect way to take that last section and just get the trick, and then you finish your run for a huge PR. For those curious about the Shroomless lines, here they are. You want to land like that, as tight as you can to this corner. Let me do it one more time. All right, here it is again. Right trick, down trick. I mean, you kind of want to land in a drift there, but sometimes it can be difficult. But that's exactly what the Shroomless lines are, and there you go. Alright, so there you guys go. That is Drybones Burnout in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you guys want to see any other tracks. The next track I'll probably be uploading is DK Pass, as I think that that's another one of my strongest tracks so far. I'll probably be doing Toad's Factory as well. And I'll get to Mario Circuit. So those are probably the next tracks that I'll be uploading. But let me know which tracks you guys want to see the most. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, later.